Affiliated Holdings, Inc., whatever that means. They just bought it. Frank reached for the title transfer document so he could see for himself. Who's this seller? That's Leon Herdeman's granddaughter. He left the house to her when he died a few years ago, but she lives downstate somewhere and didn't want it. It's been on the market ever since. Guess she finally managed to find someone who wanted that old rattle-trap. Frank continued to study the paper in his hand. Looks like Reed represented the seller. Who's this lawyer representing the buyer? Doris shrugged. I don't know everyone, Frank. You'll have to ask Reed. Before he called the lawyer, Frank Googled Affiliated Holdings. All that came up was that it was a company incorporated in Delaware. It didn't seem to have a website or any description of what the company did. He picked up the phone. How come some random company in Delaware bought the old Herdeman place on Cooper Vista Road? Frank asked when Reed answered. How should I know? Reed snapped. Neither the buyer nor the seller attended the closing. It was just me and some young lawyer from Sable Forks sitting in a room signing documents for our clients. Who was the real estate agent who handled the sale? No agent, a private sale. Herdeman's granddaughter found this seller herself? Apparently the buyer found her. She told me she got a phone call with a great all-cash offer. Honestly, this Affiliated Holdings paid substantially over the market value. Who called her? This lawyer from Sable Forks? No, he was simply a local lawyer representing Affiliated for this transaction. So their lawyer wouldn't have to make a trip up here. It's done all the time. Frank asked Reed if he knew who was living in the house now, if he'd ever heard of Charlie Dunleavy or a woman named Linnea. Reed grew crankier with every no he uttered. One last question, Frank said. You told me the Tabernacle bought some houses that have been on the market for a while. This Cooper Vista house isn't one of them? No. The Tabernacle of Living Light bought 3 houses on the other side of town, near the church itself. And is the Tabernacle the owner of record? Not some company in Delaware? Of course. The Tabernacle's name is on the deeds. That little church got mortgages on 3 houses? No mortgages. They were cash transactions. Now Frank sat at attention. Real estate in the Adirondacks might be cheaper than downstate, but it wasn't that cheap. How did Fortway have cash on hand to buy 3 houses? Don't you think it's a little suspicious that a guy who runs his own storefront church and New Age retreat center has enough money to pay cash for all his real estate? Suspicious? No, Frank. I'm grateful. Grateful that the town doesn't have an empty, decaying Chinese restaurant blighting a main street. Grateful that houses are selling. Grateful that some new people are moving to town. And you should be too. Remember, property taxes pay your and Earl's salaries. Now I've got another call to take. And he hung up. Frank scowled at the phone. He supposed Reed would be fine with Charles Manson moving to town as long as the man contributed to the tax base. He shook himself. In the space of a few hours, he'd gone from defending Fortway against Bob's accusations to skewering him to Reed. The truth, Frank was sure, lay somewhere in the middle. Fortway might not be some crazy-eyed false messiah, but that didn't mean he wasn't up to something sketchy with his tabernacle and his retreats. Frank went back to Doris and had her look up the owner of the building that once housed the Asian bistro and now was home to the tabernacle. That's funny. Another company in Delaware. Doris handed him the title. Seasonal Property Holdings. And when Frank looked it up, he found more nothing. No website, no phone number, no description of the company.